Let's take a look at the risk sentiment that we're seeing playing out in the market today. We've got the dollar, euro dollar sitting at 130. It appears risk off the table today. Concerns around the implications of what the death of North Korean leader Kim Jong-il will mean for the geopolitical situation in that area, really weighing down on the general market mood today.
Absolutely. I think that you've hit the nail on the head right there, that the market mood seems to be very risk-off at this point, much related to what's happened in South Korea recently. So it does appear to be risk-off the rand. We've already seen weaker this morning, trading in the late sort of 830 range. We would see it possibly weakening further today. If it breaks the 845 range to the upside, then possibly even as far as 860, but that is in our base case scenario. If it manages to hold below at current levels, then possibly we could see a further retrace, possibly as far as 832, but the mood does seem very risk off at this point, so we would be poised to see the rand weaken further today.
And of course, Europe is still front of mind for many. We've got the concerns with Fitch raising concerns about possible downgrades rather, to those European states, France being one of them. That's on investors' minds. We've also got a Eurozone leader teleconference late into today. That will probably provide some more direction to the market. Do you expect a muted direction ahead of that, with the euro dollar sitting at 130?
Yeah, well, the troubles in Europe really have put pressure on the euro-dollar exchange rate. As you mentioned earlier, it's already down at 130, and largely related to the fact that markets were disappointed by the outcome of the Euro Summit, wasn't as conclusive as hoped. Then came the potential for rating sovereign debt downgrades across a number of European countries. So that's still weighing heavily on that exchange rate. And in the short term, we see further potential for depreciation there. We see it headed as far as 120 in the next 6 months, based largely on developments that we're seeing in the Eurozone. And along with that, we could even see the dollar strengthen against other currencies for as long as its safe haven appeal holds, and for as long as the macro data in the US seems to be gaining traction.
Interesting, as you say, that macro data coming out is better than expected. Employment numbers, factory data also improving there. So whilst we have all the concerns playing out in Europe, the US appears to be improving somewhat and better than expected.
Absolutely. I think it's been a tough year for the US this year, and you've certainly seen that reflected in the exchange rate. The dollar's been weak across the board, but as the year has progressed, we've seen a pickup in the data coming out of the US that suggests that economy will manage to avoid recession. We believe that the Eurozone will sink into recession quite imminently, and probably remain in recession for about 6 to 9 months, so that would be the most of 2012. So on that basis, the US is certainly not out of the woods, but relative to the Eurozone and a number of other countries is starting to look a little bit better, and that's why we're expecting to see the dollar also strengthen in the short term against quite a large number of currencies.
As you say, so we've got predictions for dollar strength and euro dollar hitting around 120 even in the next 6 months. What is this likely to mean for the rand? Could we retest that low of 861 that we hit in November, and from there on out retest, say, 9 rand?
We wouldn't be calling for the rand to go as far as 9 rand, but certainly it does seem that there's potential for further rand weakness, particularly in the short term, because liquidity is likely to dry up and the rand could be vulnerable from that perspective. Then looking into the new year, the rand does tend to do badly in January to February, so I wouldn't be surprised to perhaps see it move as far as the 860 level. But after the first quarter, we are seeing a recovery in the rand and should probably end next year in the mid 750 range.